My wife and I participated in the Brave Noise beer collaboration, and we're going to take a look at that brew day and see how the beer came out. And it all starts now. Welcome to Big Monster Brewing, the Anvil Foundry Brewing Edition. I am Matt, and I do believe this is one of the few channels it's not entirely dedicated, but has a large amount of videos dedicated to the smaller Anvil Foundry system, the 6.5. So if you're a fellow owner of the small but mighty Anvil Foundry system and you like what you see, please consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can see more of these small Anvil Foundry dedicated videos. I think that order was right. In this video, we are brewing our version of a Brave Noise. And when I say we, I truly mean we, because my wife helped me with this, even though I don't think she made it on camera a single time. Her hands at best are on it, but trust me, she was brewing, working as much as I was, and this was a project she wanted to get involved in. So when I say we, for once, I really mean multiple people worked on this beer. If you don't know what Brave Noise is, it's a nationwide, possibly even worldwide collaboration, a collaborative effort to raise awareness and funds, or funds for awareness, however you want to say it, for equality in the brewing industry and beer community. If you want to learn more about this, there's a lot more to learn at bravenoisebeer.com. I participated in quite a few of these collaborative beers over the year, really since the ones that kicked off in the pandemic, which I think altogether was the first one I participated in. I've done Altogether, I've done Black is Beautiful, Curtain Up, The Things We Don't Say, and now this one as well, Brave Noise as well. It's not something I usually record and share because it seems strange to... it's most of these, if not all these, are to raise. They're done by breweries, and proceeds go to whatever the fundraising is. It seems strange to make a video saying, "Hey, look, I spent money to make a beer." Didn't really contribute to the cause in that regard. But on further thought of that idea, one of the other things that these projects do is to raise awareness for what they're supporting. And I guess in this way, this is raising possible awareness to people that didn't know about this project. So if you don't know about it, that's the long and short of it. It's really the short of it. The long of it, again, is at bravenoisebeer.com. And if you want to learn more, I certainly encourage you to stop watching this and go to that website and find out more right now. For those of you that didn't close down this video to go see that website, we're going to talk about the recipe here. What I love about these collaborative projects, these collaborations, is you're certainly given the freedom and to an extent encouraged to kind of put your spin on this particular beer. Now, having said that, this is the closest to the exact recipe that I have, I think, ever done in any of these, except for one ingredient, and it happens to be one of the bigger ingredients, and that's the base malt. The recipe for this brew calls for Pilsner malt, and I had no Pilsner malt, but I had an absolute ton of two-row pale malt, so that's the substitution I made. Past that, everything else is the same. And let's just get right to it and talk about what that recipe is. For this beer, we are using 4 pounds of two-row pale malt. Then to that, we're adding 10 ounces of wheat malt, then 9 ounces of caramel 15L, followed by 8 ounces of flaked oats. And we're adding in some rice hulls to help out with that fairly sizable amount of wheat malt and flaked oats that we are adding to our mash. We are making a 2.5 gallon batch on the 6.5 gallon Anvil Foundry, and it all starts off with 3.5 gallons of water that we bring up to 150 degrees. And at about the 90 degree mark, we add our brewing salts. While waiting for the water to heat up, we mill the grains, and when that strike water gets to 152 degrees, we mash in and set the power on those heating elements to 80%. After that mash settles a little bit, we start up the recirculation. Now we can get the hops together, and it's at this point that I realized the hop additions we're doing are all post-boil, and I could have recalculated this recipe to be based on 30-minute, 15-minute, even a 10-minute boil after the mash, and really reduced that brew day, but I'm already well into it. I'm mashed in, I'm recirculating, and all the liquid in the Foundry is the amount of water I need for a 60-minute boil, so I stick with the original plan. But if we make this again, I might consider that when I'm planning out the ingredients and the time and maybe recalculate the recipe a little bit. So we have two varieties of hop going in at a 109-degree whirlpool for 90 minutes, and that's going to be 0.3 ounces of Sabro and 0.3 ounces of Mosaic. And that's it for the hot side. We are going to add more hops post-fermentation, or at the very end of the fermentation process. We're going to add 2 ounces of Sabro and 2 ounces of Mosaic as a dry hop 2 days before we cold press the fermenter. So in actuality, the only real true boil addition in this beer is going to be yeast nutrients at 10 minutes. After 50 minutes pass in the mash rest, we bump the temperature up to 168 for a 10-minute mash out. And while we wait, we heat up 1 gallon of sparge water to 170 degrees. At the end of the mash, my wife pulls the malt pipe out of the Foundry and sparges with that 1 gallon of sparge water. Once that drains, we go into boil mode and not only wait for the boil to ramp up, but we wait until the boil is almost finished to do anything. So here's some waiting, and here's some more waiting, and some more waiting from a different time of the boil. And then things get a little exciting when 10 minutes hits and we get to add the immersion chiller and the yeast nutrients. Then we drop the wort to whirlpool temperature and add the hops, and then it's a manual whirlpool for about 15 to 20 minutes. Kind of lost track here of that because I forgot to start the timer, so figured it wasn't more than 5 minutes had passed, so we settled for a timer of 15. So anyone's guess what the actual whirlpool time was. Then we kill the power and start chilling the wort to a pitching temperature of 64 degrees. And once we reach that, we transfer the wort to a 3-gallon carboy. For the yeast, the recipe calls for Yeast London Ale 3, but my current homebrew supply shop of choice doesn't carry Yeast, but they do have the Omega equivalent, the strain 01L-011, which I believe is the British 5 strain. I pitch a healthy vitality starter that I made while we were brewing, and I immediately put a blow-off tube on this fermenter because I know from experience exactly what this yeast is going to do. After 8 days, I add those 4 ounces of dry hops, then 2 days later, I cold crash for 48 hours, then I finally keg, carbonate with the Blickman Quick Carb, then can that entire keg at my wife's suggestion, because this is one she wants to share with quite a few people, and I do have a can to get to the tasting right now. It is a misnamed tasting time because I'll be completely honest, I've had this beer, had it a couple times. We introduced our batch at our brew club, and then we've shared it with some friends since, and I know what it tastes like, and I am not sorry to have to do it again for this video. So let's take a look at the color first. I didn't mention the style, but you probably saw it on the can label with the appearance of my dog. I just couldn't resist taking that shot. It's a pale ale by style, or at least they're aiming for it, and spoiler alert, it is. Got a nice, rich gold color. It is quite hazy, which is to be expected with not only the white wheat malt, but the flaked oats and that yeast strain. The yeast strain is usually I wouldn't say usually, but it is a go-to strain for hazy IPAs. So I expected that. I did expect the color to be a little lighter, but maybe if it were clear, it might come out a little lighter. Might be the fact that not as much light's coming through. It doesn't matter. I do like the color a lot. The aroma, you can get the Mosaic characteristics, kind of that really strong, pungent citrus and almost herbal. At least that's what I get out of Mosaic. But Sabro is the first thing I think of. Sabro is a extremely unique hop that I've had a lot of fun with over the years. Even before it had a name. Can't remember the number of it. I want to say HBC 432, but that's probably wrong. And the big thing that comes out of Sabro that I hear two things from people. I hear coconut and I hear mint. For me, it is a mint bomb. It is a natural mint, not like a, well, I guess peppermint and spearmint are natural, not like a gum or candy, you pull a leaf off a mint plant, give it a crush and smell it. That is it. That natural mint. It is so prominent on in my senses, whatever you want to call it. That's what I get out of the aroma. Now the taste. It follows everything that I get out of the aroma. The big thing is that punch of mint, and it's like so strong, it's burning. It's like when you have a really strong peppermint seems to be the one that burns me most. When you have a really intense mint that almost burns, not like a capsaicin or a pepper burn, just that burn, that sensation. I get that out of this, and I get that taste of mint. I don't get a lot of coconut, which I actually kind of are a little disappointed by because I love coconut. My palate just does not pick up coconut on Sabro. I've have had people mention they taste coconut in this. Unfortunately, I don't, but I also get that rich citrus, a little bit of an earthy and herbal quality to it, kind of that like that underlying hop, that distinct flavor hops bring, and then start developing into stronger flavors on top of that. There's one word I've used. I'm going to try to drink it again. Look at some more descriptors out here. I suppose I want to drink it. I'm going to be honest. And there's one word I've used, I think every time I've had this and discussed it with people. It's refreshing, which is not a typical descriptor I would use for a hop forward beer. It's hop forward. It's not IPA. It's kind of like flirting with getting to the IPA range, but it's not quite there. It's maybe a little stronger than most pale ales, but it's definitely no mistake hop forward. There's a very good supporting malt balance to this, but it definitely leans toward the hop, especially if the Sabro really takes over. The way my palate reacts to that hop and that mint just gives us a bizarrely refreshing sensation. And I say that because I don't expect it with everything else that's coming with it, but it is, and I love that about this beer. So another one for good measure. I would love to say it freshens your breath, but I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure it smells like beer, but it is so good and unique. This is one of the few hoppy beers I'd have on a hot day, and luckily in Florida, we're in no short supply of them. We're in a bizarre, I'm using the word bizarre more than I should tonight, but we are in a unusual unusual cold snap right now. But we'll have some of these cans on hand. I hope we'll have some on hand when the weather turns around again. But for now, I'm going to finish this beer and enjoy this. Again, if you want to know more about the whole collaboration, it's bravenoisebeer.com. You may even be able to get some of this in your city from your local brewer. I don't think, as of the time of this recording, any Orlando breweries are participating, which is strange because we participated in just about every other one. But I do believe in fact, I do know there's one in Tampa. And I know which one it is. It's Green Bench. If you happen to be in the Tampa area and watching this, and hopefully they still have some by the time you watch this. But I have this. I have more cans, and I'm going to enjoy this. I'll be back with another video soon. So thank you for watching, of course, and I will see you in that next episode.